It's time now to check your money with America's Money Maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Good morning, Vicki, and I hope your Christmas was splendid, wonderful, and that Santa was really good to you.
All of the above, George. My Christmas was splendid. It was wonderful, and Santa was very, very good to me. So I can't complain, and I'm sure that most people who are listening today are thankful, as we are, that we had a very contained Christmas, but we enjoyed every moment of it, okay, with family, and we used our technology to actually connect everyone, okay, in the family so that we could enjoy the celebration together.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And Vicki, by the way, guess what? This is the last show of 2020.
Wow, George, the last show of 2020.
Yes.
Usually I'd be a little bit sad, but there's something about, although we know that when the sun comes up tomorrow, we still have the challenges that we were facing in 2020. But for some reason, hearing that 2020 is behind us makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know. Do you feel that way too?
I do feel that way, and I'm really looking forward to 2021. In fact, I expect, Vicki, that 2021 will be really, really big for me, for you, and for all of us in this work, because there's a lot going on. I think you're moving next year, right? If all goes well, you'll be moving.
Actually, it's 2022, but that's
2020. All right. So you're going to be moving soon, right?
Soon, okay, very, very soon. But we will remind everyone coming into 2021, February 28th, that we're having the 14th annual Black History Month Jazz Cabaret sponsored by Brackens Financial Solutions Network in conjunction with the Central New York Jazz and Arts Foundation. Look for details online soon.
Very
so
good.
George, because I want to make sure that I get this information in, so I'm going to stop right here and kind of push forward. Every year we look at the end of the year and some of the things that you may want to take care of before the clock strikes into the next year. And those are usually items related to some of the tax issues that we have.
Right.
Here's what's a little bit different this year. Pretty much so, we can always look at some of the standard things that we talk about more of as a reminder. But because we had major tax legislation, and on top of the issues relative to the pandemic and the changes that took place with IRS last year as far as some of the extensions and things of that nature, we don't have as clear a picture. In fact, if you tried, for those of you who are using TurboTax, if you tried to actually preload your tax information, you can't. You can't, because TurboTax has got a message there saying we don't have enough information yet in order to predict or to give you the calculations in a way that we feel that would be accurate at this point in time. So here's the things that I'm going to tell you. First of all, you probably need this year to wait a little bit longer, particularly if you itemize, to file your taxes. I'm not saying that miss the deadline. Some folks actually do it in January. You need to wait because there will be several corrections and that will come through on software, that will come through with your fund companies, your mutual fund companies, your stock companies, because we are still trying to interpret how the law is going to be applied across the board. So I would suggest, so that you're not frustrated, that you probably wait until late February, early March, because we won't get all of that information that we need to accurately file our taxes probably until that point. Secondly, there are some things, though, that did not appear, no guarantee, but did not appear to change that you may want to take advantage of. And that is the fact that at the end of the year, if you want to make a charitable contribution, you need to do that, because you need to do that on this side of 12/31 in order for that to count.
All right, so they got 4 days.
They got 4 days, okay? Write the check, okay? Do it electronically if you can. And a lot of charities now have online giving.
Yes,
So
right, because Yeah.
Reach into the online systems and make those transfers.
That's how I've been doing my church this year, because you know
Exactly.
you can't. Yeah.
So you can use the online system in order to get those in with under the wire and have those count for 2020. Also, if you're reaching out to a charitable foundation or anything of that nature, call them and see if they have online systems, because that would be one of the best ways to make sure that you meet the deadline. I talked about earlier donor advised, ADVISED, donor advised funds as a tool to use for charitable contributions for philanthropy. If you've set up a donor advised fund, you still have the opportunity to contribute and get the deduction for this year. Remember, you don't necessarily have to know which charity you're sending that to. The fund itself qualifies under the regulations for charitable contributions. So by just getting the money into your fund, that will qualify, and then you can actually make a decision on which charity to send the money to at a later date. If you haven't set up a donor advised fund, many of the fund companies, along with the Central New York Community Foundation, will help you get that done ASAP. But since this is Sunday, I would say call first thing on Monday morning.
Right.
If you're calling the Community Foundation to set that up, or your community foundation in your local area. Or you can reach into companies like Fidelity Giving or Schwab. They also have donor advised funds online that you can set up through your computer immediately and then make the immediate contributions. Well, George, finally, last thing, business expenses that you can front load into 2020 that will actually have their life in 2021, basically meaning maybe your rent payment, you can go ahead and pay the January into December, or some of the expenses that you typically would pay at the end of the at the beginning of the month, pull them into the month of December. Talk to your accountant, talk to your bookkeeper to be sure that you are doing it the right way. But if you have the cash flow to do so, this probably is a good time to pull some of those expenses that would be early in 2021 into 2020. Of course, your individual tax situation, you must discuss with your individual tax preparer, but I'm encouraging you to reach out to that individual or firm to see if there's anything that you can book this year that will help you with your taxes, because I am sure many people are going to be a little surprised because we had a lot of capital gains paid out in the investment market this year, and that those gains will show up in your tax schedule for 2020 due in 2021. So let's try and level the playing field. Well, George.
Well, before you
before
clear that plate, before you clear the plate, I wanted to.
I'm ready for 2021.
Okay. Right. I know you ready to get out. You ready to leave this year alone. I was going to ask you whether or not, and you talked about front loading expenses, and I know sometimes even you can, and again, this is where you have to have the team. You talked about having the lawyer, the accountant, what was the insurance person?
And your financial planner.
Your financial planner, lawyer, accountant, financial planner, because I know, and I'm certainly a micro business, but if you will, but just the accounting and the bookkeeping pieces is always the challenge, right? You know,
correct.
And so I do believe that that's really solid advice, and it's worth the investment, right? Just
absolutely
because of the headache alone. So did you make it?
It's while you were saying that, there was one area that I missed, and so I'll go back.
Okay.
Your IRA contributions.
Oh, word. Okay. Yeah.
Your IRA contribution. So make sure that if you need to and you qualify for a deductible IRA, and there are income limits, and rather than trying to go through all the brackets, if you want a brochure on the income limits and how to use your IRA, just reach out to me at info@Brackens, BRACKENSFSN.com. We'll provide a schedule for you so you can look individually. But your IRA contributions, you need to consider whether or not you have an opportunity to contribute and deduct an IRA, or If you are an individual who is looking at Roth conversions for non-deductible IRAs, now is the time to make that decision.
All right, one more last thing. Did you make a resolution for 2021?
Yes, okay. I made a resolution for 2021, and I will tell you about it in 2021.
All right, that's Vicki Brackens. And Vicki, what is our plate full now?
Your plate is full.
All right, how do we get a hold of you? How do we get a hold of you?
Okay, you can reach me at area code 315-930-4499. 315-930-4499.
All right, Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and the registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, on behalf of all of us everywhere, have a safe and happy new year.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Inspiration for the nation.